Welcome back, guys, to the Shade Tree Garage, and today we're going to talk about the easy way to replace retractors and cables for your Tri-5 wagon tailgate. All right, is it easy? Well, it can be. All right, that's coming up next here on the Shade Tree Garage. All right, guys, thanks for joining us, and I'm going to share with you the easiest way to replace the tailgate cables and retractors. Now, these are the bane of the existence of most wagon owners because, and I will tell you, I should have recorded. I kept telling my son, we did this just a little while ago, finished this job, and I kept telling my son we ought to record this, Well, the problem is all the work you're doing is inside your quarter panel. You can't see crap. In fact, you got to do it by feel, but it's not hard. It's not hard. All right, I'm not going to jabber for long. Let's talk about exactly how to do it. All right, for starters, you need to remove the retractor if you have one on your whichever side you're started with. Now this has the original retractor, and actually it still retracts. It still retracts. It needs, and this end is, you can see it's kind of boogered up, but I'm convinced it could be rehabbed. I've heard stories of guys that you clean these things up, you pull them out, clean the rust off of them, you lube them up, and they can be renewed. Now, the problem may come if you have an original retractor that's working and attached, the spring may be weak. So, and I don't know that there's a real you can clean them and that'll improve it, but it may not suit your needs for the retractor to be fully functional. You know, as you raise it up towards closing, the cable may go slack. All right, anyway, so here's what you do. Number one, you've got your retractor out. You've got your new one in its mount. You got your new retractor. All right, then you attach the cable. You attach the cable. Now this is the original attachment point, but you attach the cable to the retractor. All right, now in my case, what we did, we got some 12 gauge wire. All right, and got some 12 gauge wire and looped it around like that. And then I ran working at the retractor hole mount. My son ran this copper wire, this 12 gauge wire, through the opening from his side. Now, there's a small opening over each wheel well that your cable goes. So he was able to feed the wire through the opening, and I was able to reach in the quarter panel, remove the tail light, of course, on the Tri-5s, and reach in there and grab it, and then I was able to pull the rest of this cable. Through, and then he had the new retractor sitting in place, and I was able to pull the cable and lengthen the retractor and get 8 inches of spare out here, outside the body of the car. Now to allow me to work easily with the cable, you have to take the pressure off of the retractor is all the time pulling. So he took a pair of small vice grips, padded the jaws, and clamped it down on the retractor as the retractor cable exits the retractor. So clamp that off, and that took the pull. That takes all the pull off of this cable. Well, then you can work with it. All right, now, of course, with the tail light out, you can't see the hardware inside, but having seen a picture of it, which I will share with you, you can see how the cable has to route through there. All right, now, the first thing I did after I had the cable and he clamped the retractor and I had all that slack was to run the cable back up into the quarter panel and out the opening at the top of the tailgate opening. So I ran it out of that. Now you have to run the cable, get the cable to go through the guides at the top of the quarter panel, you know, that you can't see, but you can feel. And again, using the picture that I've showed. All right, now on the driver's side, I started from the front of the car, and the first part of that fixture is a U-shaped guide. And then I went in front of that where there's a loop, almost a full loop. There's an opening on the inside of that loop for allow you to push the cable in. Now, that took some time because I had to try to get the cable to bend and go into into the bottom of that hoop. Well, the easy way is to insert the cable in the loop, in the corner of that loop first. And then once you have that in place, then you raise the cable up and put it through the U-shaped channel, that U-shaped guide. And once you've got that in, you're home free. The only thing you have left to do is to then mount the retractor at the retractor, and then the retractor took up the slack, and it was done. It was done. And it works beautifully. With two good retractors and cables, the tailgate is now a joy to raise and lower. You've got resistance when you're lowering it; it doesn't flop down anymore. And when you're raising it, you've got an assist. You've got that the retractors help raise it, and in fact, you can raise it up and leave it at, say, you know, a 45-degree angle or 70-degree angle. If you don't want to have it all the way down flat, you can raise it, lower it down a little bit, and leave it there. You know, but anyway, it worked. That was the easiest way I've found to deal with this. All right, and once he released the vice grip clamp on the retractor, it's just simply a matter of attaching the retractor inside the cargo area of your wagon, and then replacing your taillight, the taillight fixture, and then you're done. And you're done. Now I will tell you, every time I remove a taillight fixture, I always check the lights. I check the tail light, the brake lights, and the turn signals, make sure everything works. Now, interestingly, the light fixtures on the rear of my Chevy have reverse light bulbs. Now, I don't know. But they're not hooked to anything. There's no way to turn them on. So that may be in the works too, figuring out a way to do that. As many complaints as I've heard about people having to deal with the retractors and the cables, it's a lot simpler using this method. And it takes two people. I mean, my son was a big help, and I spent more time taking the taillight apart and removing the old cable. I will tell you, after you look at the picture that I've got here, and the secret is having slack in that cable. You do that, you are home free, and you can have a nice operational tailgate that's going to stay where you put it, and no fear of it flopping too far. And my concern with just having one support for all these months with my tailgate was that cable could break, and my fear was the tailgate would flop down and hit the bumper guards on the rear bumper. All right, guys. Well, that's a simple way to do it. It's easy. You just have to think logically, and we got the passenger side cable in and replaced in short order. And so I asked him. I said, "Son, you ready to go into business replacing Tri-5 tailgate cables and retractors?" And he said, "How many people you think need this done?" And I'm like, "Well, you know, I said, nationally, probably quite a few, but you know, but it's very doable. You can do it. You don't need me to do it. You don't need to pay anybody to do it. If I had to do this again on the driver's side, I would not have gone through the gas door. Once you remove the tail light fixture, you've got plenty of room to get in there. Again, the secret is having that cable slack so you can get it worked through those fixtures. And after that, you're home free. All right, I would also highly recommend buying brand new hardware all the way across the board for that. The new retractors, the new plate, new cable, and all the hardware that attaches it to the tailgate all new screws, etc. And you'll be glad you did. All right, guys, well, that's going to do it for this, and hope it's been useful. If there's an easier way to do this, let me know. I hope and pray that I never have to do this again. So that'll do it for this trip. I hope this is useful information. If you would like this video, and if this information is useful, we'll be doing more. So subscribe and ring that bell to be notified when I drop a new video. There's always something going on here in the Shade Tree Garage.